All right, one, two, three. What is up, fight fans? I am Jason Burgos for Sherdog.com, and I'm welcome to a new live edition of Back Talk. This week, I am joined by a man that has a success story on multiple levels. He's a talented fighter currently in the UFC's welterweight division. He's a coach for several other talented fighters on the UFC roster. Hold on, let me check. And plus, he's a successful owner of several businesses that have nothing to do with fighting at all. That's how multi-talented this man is. And that man is the James Krause. James, happy belated Father's Day to you. And thank you so much for joining me today to co-pilot this podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate the Happy Father's Day as well.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Now, I have a whole bunch of questions. The fans are going to have questions for you, too. So first, I wanted to talk on, because there's so many perspectives you come from, because you're a part of the sport on so many different levels, but the fighter pay issue is a big issue right now. John Jones, Jorge Masvidal have really brought it to the forefront for a lot of people. I've talked to Gray Maynard. He explained to me the practice of undisclosed paychecks being like a sort of tipping system the UFC uses to kind of control behavior and stuff like that. And instead of just guaranteeing money up front, I've talked to Dan Ige. His opinion was, hey, if you sign the deal, you can't complain after the fact. So a lot of different perspectives. The UFC is not going to pay guys just to be nice, nice and just pay them extra. How do we change this and fighters get a bigger share of the revenue? Do we need to unionize? Does the federal government need to step in and with something like the Ali Act? Do fighter managers need to align and do business in the best interest of all fighters and not just maybe their own clients?
Well, first off, I think it's everybody's a guilty party here. It's kind of weird because listen, like Dan said, if you accept the pay, it's your own dumbass fault. You know what I mean? So you can't go back later and complain about it, even though that is industry standard and you get what everybody else is getting, whatever. That's just what it pays. But people have to realize we're still young. The sport itself is still very young, and I do think that there'll be something, whether it be unionizing or the government steps in or the athletic commissions or whatever that looks like, the Ali Act or something. There'll be something similar that happens at some point. I don't know when that'll be. It probably won't be while I'm still fighting. But I do think that somebody will come in and step in and do something about it. But yeah, I mean, it's listen, you can't complain about it if you've already done it. And if you've already signed on it. We're in a unique thing. It's almost like it's so hard to combat the machine of the UFC. You know what I mean? So many have tried, zero have succeeded, in my opinion. But it will take the guys like Masvidal, John Jones. It'll take those guys complaining in order to do it. And I'll be the first one to tell you, like, do I think we need to make more money? Yeah, absolutely I do. And that's not just me saying, hey, I want to make more money. But there's so many levels to this. There's so many, it's like an onion, you're peeling off layers, Because like a lot of the guys, I hear a lot of these guys saying, we need to get a union going. I'm like, okay, hey, listen, let's talk about a union. Okay, let's talk about the union. Do you realize that it costs money to be in a union? You know what I mean? Do you realize that you have to? Most of these guys can't even pay their damn light bill. How are you going to afford to be in a union? They don't know what being in a union means. They have no idea. You know what I mean? So it's like you basically you're telling me we deserve to make more money. Listen, I'm with that. I want to make more money too, but we have to bring. You can't just say I want to make more money. There has to be more value there. Now, is there more value there? Absolutely, there is right now. There's a big discrepancy between value and pay scale. 100% there is. So. Is there more money to give up? Yes. And are they currently upping it? Yeah, they up it all the time, man. Whenever I got in the UFC, my start pay was 8-8. You know what I mean? Whenever I fought Cerrone in the WC was 2-2.
Wow.
So, you know what I mean? Like now I think league minimum is like 14-14. So it is going up. It's just a slow process. We're a young sport. People don't know that. So or they don't recognize that, I guess. It is going up. Is it going up to the level that we need it to? I don't know, man. I'm not the guy to make that decision, but like before you start spouting off we need a union or we need this, I mean that, you got to at least understand what comes with those things. You can't just ask for more money and these some of these guys don't do anything, and I think it it's on us as fighters to I think monetize other things outside of this. You got to make your money work for you. My main complaint right now is the facade of we are a independent contractor, because that's just not true, right?
Yeah.
We may get a 1099 at the end of the year or whatever, but we're not. We have to be at a certain place, certain time. Can't fight anywhere else. We can't. You know what I mean? Like, that's my only problem with it, is you're exclusive to the company. If you know, so there's so many different layers to this. It's, you know, we can make this whole podcast about this, but do I think we deserve more money? I shouldn't say that. Do I think we've earned more money? Yes, I do. Do I think it's to the level of what some of these guys think? No, absolutely not. And when we talk about union, like, if we want to unionize, okay, like, let's look at what that entails, because I don't think a lot of these guys understand what a real union looks like and what that entails, what the requirements are from us as workers. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that they understand what comes at. They say union because it means more money for them. You know what I mean? It's just, that's not how it works. So, but yeah, I do think we're off on the pay scale right now, but it is going up. Maybe not at the rate we want it to, but I think we'll get it right at some point. May not be anytime soon, but we'll get it right.
And I was going to ask, too, and I think I maybe kind of know the answer, like, if they could have some kind of agreement where, okay, maybe you don't get a bigger portion of the revenue, you don't get 50-50 splits like other leagues, but then there were things like guaranteed, like pension plans, or, you know, other kind of, you know, long-term things like health insurance after you finish. You fight three fights in Bellator or whatever, UFC, any of these companies, you get something when your career is over. But what do you think? You know the fighters, you coach the fighters. Do you even think they would agree to that? Or would they be like, no, I want more money now. I'm not thinking about my future.
Oh, these dipshits will want more money now. 100%. 100%. They don't, man, nobody, that's the difference, man. Nobody here plays the long game. None of these guys are smart with their money. I say none of them. Very few of them are. They think cash in hand right now. They don't, I mean, it's how you spend $1, how you're going to spend $1 million. You know what I mean? It's like, if you're broke now, you're going to be broke after you have $1 million too. You know, it's these guys just don't know. They're not financially literate. They don't know. You know what I mean? They don't know what they don't know. They know how to fight, and that's what it is. You know, I think the UFC could do a better job of that. Like, look, if you're not going to pay us more, at least arm us with some information that we're, you know, if we don't utilize it, that's on us. And I do think that we could, you know, they could do a better job at that. Like, hey, this is how we can make more money outside of fighting. And if you choose not to utilize that, that's on you. And for them to say, I know somebody's gonna say, well, that's what I did the Fighter Summit. Those things were a joke, man. They brought no. It was just a weekend to show off the merger or whatever it was. It was a joke.
Yeah. I mean, I think a perfect class would be like How to Use Your Money by James Krause at the next Fighter Summit, but that's a story for another day.
Let's go. I'm with it.
A huge story that came out of the weekend was that of the corner of Max Rapskov, where on 9 occasions he asked his lead cornerman, Robert Drysdale, to call off the fight. Drysdale refused. You were a part of the corner for Anthony Smith versus Glover Teixeira, and you guys took a lot of heat for that fight too. You understand both the fighter and coach mentality. Where do you fall on this story? And also, do you agree with Drysdale's handling of it? And also, just give folks out there that watch this the various elements in play that make cornering a fighter in that kind of moment really difficult.
Man, I don't even know if I should answer this or not. I do agree with Drysdale, man. Like, here's the thing. I don't think Drysdale did anything wrong, because the guy asked out, and at the end of the round, when it was like time to go back out, not the 1 minute in between, he said, you asked him one last time, he said, "You're done?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm done." He goes, "Okay." And he said, "Okay, like, okay, well, we'll stop it then." And then he didn't fight back or whatever on it. But I actually talked to my team about this, and this is all I want to say on it. I don't want to dive into it because I'm just now, the tweets and mentions are just now starting to die down from the Anthony Smith thing. But it's ridiculous, man. I think as a coach, we understand the sacrifice that goes in. And look at it, especially we use Max as an example. Max is 5-0, and he's young. He's very inexperienced in high level fighting. He's very talented. No doubt he is really good. He's going to be very good. I've been watching him for a long time. And I think when a coach says that stuff, it's not about trying to get him to go back to the fight. It's more saving himself from the guy that he's going to have to look into the mirror, that you've made all this sacrifice, you've gone all this way to quit on the stool. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, the fighters got to look themselves in the mirror and know that. You know what I mean? And I think that's what Drysdale was trying to do, is, you know, save face from himself. And I could be wrong, man. You know, I don't know. You know, and I don't want, like I said, I don't want to dive into it. But I know people that have done that before, and it's something that stays with you for the rest of your life. You know, you have to live with those. You have to live with that. You know, and listen, I'm all for fighter safety. I'm with that, and I know somebody's gonna disagree or whatever. I don't give a shit what anybody like what these couch potatoes think. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care if my brains are getting beat in. I signed up for this. They don't call this the hurt game you know what I mean? Like, it is the hurt game. You're gonna get hurt. Brain cells are gonna be lost. Like, that's what we are essentially trying to do. Like, but nobody bats an eye. Nobody said a word about Gaethje and Ferguson. Good Lord, Gaethje beat the hell out of him for 25 minutes. Like, or, you know, like, whatever it was. Nobody said a word about that. He was getting his brains beat in, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how is that any different? How is it any different? Matter of fact, it's worse. They're standing. There's more power being generated. Like, anyway, I don't want to get into the debate about it. I just think that I was with Drysdale. You know, the dude didn't go back out. You know what I mean? Like, if he would have gone back out, maybe a different story. If you say, I quit, I want to be done, whatever, you know, I don't know, man. I go back and forth on it. It's such a tough position to be put in.
Yes.
You know, as a coach, you're the coach because you have a lot of experience in whatever field that you're in. But, like, no coach has a lot of experience in people quitting on the stool. So it's really difficult. It's really difficult to handle that situation because it's, you know, fighter by fighter. Some fighters need to be riled up in the corner, and some fighters are telling the truth in the corner whenever they want out. You know what I mean? Like, you'll never hear those words come out of my mouth, though. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying I'm better than him because of that. I'm just saying, like, man, I just, you know what I mean? Say you can't see. You know what I mean? Like, if you say you can't see, you'll call it. You know what I mean? Like, don't ever quit on the stool like that. You know? Like, I don't know. I think the kid's gonna be super talented. He is super talented. I think he's gonna do really well. I don't disagree with anything Drysdale did. It's not like the dude went back out and fought again. And listen, bro. If Drysdale would have called it immediately, those same couch potatoes would be saying the same shit about, he called it too quick. He could have talked you back into going out there and winning. It was 1-1. Bro, those dudes don't know what the hell they're talking about. You're talking about taking financial advice from a bunch of homeless people.
All right, so I won't push too much on the health thing of it, but I'll follow up with a question I had more on, like, what comes in terms of, like, ridicule within the industry, because the phrase "go out on my shield" has been heard for years from MMA fighters, but it almost seems like a mentality shared by some coaches too, which is, you know, surprising in a way. Also, I saw Dan Hooker tweet, then delete, that Max was made out of marshmallows for admitting he was done in that fight. Do you feel like the idea of proving toughness and manhood over being smart with personal health, aiming for longevity, making as much as you can in the industry, because you know about that, making the most out of your time here, you know, is it a big problem, that manhood, toughness over longevity? Should we keep making heroes of fighters who risk it all for glory, while calling fighters who want to live to fight another day like cowards or soft? Should that kind of not be knocked off a bit in the sport?
Listen, man, it comes from the background. Where I'm from, you do that shit, you'll never live that down. You know what I mean? Never live that down, ever. And that's why Anthony Smith, he's from the Midwest, bro. Like, he's just cut from a different cloth. You know, you fight every weekend there. You fight whoever. It's just different, man. I don't know. I can't explain it. And I'm not saying I'm right. Listen, like, I get fighter safety is a thing. I get the health repercussions of it, but I don't think longevity of the sport comes from one fight. I think that's a style that you fight. Right?
True.
Like, you know, like, one fight isn't going to make or break the longevity of your career. You know, can one fight damage your brain? Yeah, man, no doubt. But well, go watch football, man. These guys are creating car crashes every play, bro. Come on. Nobody, you know what I mean? Like, don't act like what we're doing is some unique thing that is not seen every Sunday on fucking NFL. You know what I mean? Like, I'll get riled up about it because, like, nobody bats an eye. Nobody bats an eye at the 300-pound linebacker that could run a 4.2 that hits this guy the equivalent of a 50-mile-an-hour car crash. Nobody says anything about that. But it happens every play there. You know what I mean? And now, recently, it's become more of a thing. And listen, man, I just think it's how you're raised in the game. You know, Hooker's an old school dude. Anthony Smith, old school dude. Anthony's not gonna quit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna quit. And Max is a young kid. He's got 5 fights, man. The dude, I've watched his career. He's super talented. He's never really been in a fight, man. You know what I mean? Like, he's been blowing through these dudes, having a hard time finding fights, and this step up, it went really big, and it's
and on
okay,
short notice, you know.
It's on short notice. There's a ton of things,
Yeah.
dude. I'm not taking anything away from Max. I think he's an incredible fighter. I think he's gonna do really well, and I just think the jump happened quick, short notice.
Yeah.
Cardio, exhaustion, all that stuff. But listen, man, like, I don't, you know what I mean? I don't know what the right answer is. I feel like when I get asked these questions, there's like somebody's looking for my opinion, and I have mixed feelings on it. You know what I mean? Like, I get it, fair. But I don't. If what I'm saying is wrong, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how I was brought up. It's like, you don't do that. You know, you just don't quit on the stool. And I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying I'm not quitting on the stool, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna do it. It's not even an option for me. It's not an option for me. And listen, for you future fighters, if anybody watching that, and you don't want to, like, he's gonna catch a lot of flack for quitting on the stool. Dog, just say you can't see. Say you can't see the call fight. You know what I mean? Like, there's different ways around it to make it look like you're not, you know what I mean? You don't get the backlash or whatever. And it doesn't matter. Dude, I don't know. Like I said, I go back and forth on it. I feel like everybody's looking for a specific opinion, and I have an opinion on it. And I'm not saying my opinion's right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm just saying that's how I was raised in this game, is that you do not quit on the stool no matter what. You don't quit on that stool. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I'm right. I don't know if I'm wrong. Obviously, the Anthony Smith fight got me backlash. I'm not his head coach. That's not even my decision to make. You know what I mean? Like, but if he was, I'd have done the same thing. So, you know, and Max is my guy. Long story short, I'm good with Drysdale. I'm good with everything that he did. Try to talk his fighter back in. You know, it's your job as a coach to push him to the limits. And if Max thought that was his limit, then cool. I'm good with both, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not mad at either one. But you ain't gonna catch me on the stool doing that. That's all I'm saying.
And I mean, and we can't have proper discourse without opinions, all varying opinions. It can't be this is the right way, this is wrong. And especially for fans and media like myself, it's better to know the opinions of the people in there, the people that coach the people in there. So you giving me that point of view, and you know, it makes me see it in a different way, and that's what this is all about. Now, you competed for Quintet in December, and I loved during a recent edition of Submission Underground when Chael was calling the action. He's calling the action and getting text messages from you, talking about the text there. It's awesome. Is there any possibility of you being in Submission Underground sometime soon?
Yeah, we talked about it. Chael and I have talked about it a few times. You know, just schedules. I'm on the road damn near every weekend, so just scheduling. You know, figuring that out. I'll be there sometime. So,
what do you think of what Craig Jones is doing? It's pretty amazing.
Chael asked me to go against him. I'm like, dude,
what?
No, that dude's incredible, man. He's incredible. I mean, to deny anything of what he's doing, especially what he did to Vinny, is absolutely incredible. The dude's a phenom. You know, between him and Gordon, the number one, number two, and you could probably interchange those two really easily. No MMA guy is going to have a chance against him. Like, you know what I mean? It's just not – you're talking about multiple disciplines every day. This dude's training one discipline every day. It's not – no MMA guy is going to be able to compete with that dude. It's not even going to be close. He's going to blow those dudes out of the water and make them look shitty.
Now, in February, you're jumping in on a day's notice to fight Trevin Giles. Was a big story, and I spoke to you after that fight about it. The next month, your manager filed a grievance with the Texas Commission to get the result overturned because of the connections with Giles and Joe Solis, who was the judge at the time, who did a horrific job. Now, I commend you for trying, but commissions just never seem to overturn fights unless it's like a positive drug test most times. I feel because they don't want to publicly admit wrongdoing and open the door to being proven wrong often. I'm sure you and Jason House understand how these things unfortunately usually go. Was the choice to file a grievance because you really felt a belief that it would get overturned, or more for broader reasons and to take a public stance against questionable practices like this by a commission so it doesn't happen to somebody else next time?
I didn't file the grievance. I could give a shit less about it, to be honest with you. I don't care. Anything that I want out of the deal is already gone. You know what I mean? I want the win and the other half of my paycheck that I deserve. That's the only thing that I want. Those things are both gone. No matter if we get it overturned or not, I'm not going to get those. Jason's doing that, and from what I understand, it's still in the process. So the COVID shut it down or whatever because nobody was there. But from what I understand, I haven't asked him about it in a while, but he's telling me it's still in the works, and he still feels really good about it. I don't really care. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter to me. I want the other half of my paycheck and the W. Yeah. So, you know, I feel like I won that fight, and even if they overturn it, it's not going to be a win for me. It's going to be a no contest. So, you know, whatever. Anything that I want's gone.
Another big story the last couple of weeks was fighters speaking out about bad experiences with former matchmaker Joe Silva. Gray Maynard told me a few. You got into the company like about 2-3 years before Joe retired. Do you have any negative experience, or was he a positive experience working with him?
I don't really have any bad experiences with him. I have a lot of people. I know a lot of people that have had bad experiences with him, but I personally have never. He never did me wrong. I just feel like sometimes a lot of those guys get in positions where they see fights every weekend, and man, unless you're in there every day like we're in there, like there's no frame of reference. And I feel like those guys are in the event every weekend, so they feel like they have a frame of reference to talk. And they don't. You know what I mean? Like, and I like I said, Joe never did me wrong. But I can see where people would be frustrated with him. Like, I can outside looking in, I can see where he, where people would get upset with him because he felt like he knew fighting and he didn't. You know what I mean? Like, so for anybody that's not in that, it's hard for anybody to speak that doesn't fight or hasn't fought before. It's hard for anybody to be able to weigh in on what that is. You know, what that looks like. But he never did me wrong ever. He was always really nice to me. But we also didn't have like a super close relationship or anything like that. So I've heard him doing people dirty a bunch, but that's it.
Without giving names, what's the worst thing you've heard about him doing dirty to somebody you know?
Just like right before they're about to walk out or right after they lose, like just kicking people when they're down, saying you fought like shit or, like you look terrible or, stuff like that. Just like you overstepping your opinion boundaries, I guess. And, but whatever, man, you can't, I just feel like you can't take offense to stuff like that, even though that's not the matchmaker's job to give his opinion on your performance. I guess he's entitled to it. And, everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Yeah. Now, this is a set of questions from the forums, the social and stuff like that from viewers. Now, this one is from a fascinating name. I got names for him before in the column. Zebra Cheeks. They ask, you personally, how did stepping into your last fight on 24 hours notice affect you? And did you have any regrets? I already know the answers to these. Would you have done the same, though, in this COVID-19 climate?
Yeah. I have zero regrets of doing it. What was the first of the three questions?
Did it have any effect on you?
Oh yeah, I wasn't in just good of shape. Did it have an effect on me? Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't in near as good of shape as I always am. I'm always in fairly decent shape, but fight shape and in shape are two different things. I wasn't in fight shape. I was in shape, but not in fight shape.
Yeah.
I feel like I already feel like I won the fight, but if I would have went into that fight with an actual camp, I feel like I'd blow him out of the water. Matter of fact, if I could pick my next fight, that's who I would fight again at middleweight. But yeah, I mean, I don't regret it at all. No, I feel like it's a fight that I can win. I feel like I did win.
Would you still do it now with the COVID stuff though?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
That doesn't change any of my decision making process at all.
Yeah. And so would you say like does that fight really, the fact that you still want that and that middleweight, even though you're doing fantastic at welterweight, that fight really sting because of the Joe Solecki stuff, the way you thought you won,
man.
Is that?
Like, yeah, I mean, bro, for the odds being stacked against me already, taking a fight on 24 hours notice in his hometown, out of my weight class. Like I'm not a big welterweight, bro. I fought at lightweight before.
Yeah.
And and then just to be ripped off by a judge is, I can't help but be curious of like where that catapult would have taken me if I would have won. You know what I mean? Like, I got a lot of good things out of that, even in the loss. But man, I won that fight. I feel very adamant about that. I'm very real with myself. I'm very real to sport. If you score that fight as a whole, I think it was very close, and I'm not upset with the decision. If you score that fight like they did, to where the toss-up is the first round, I 1,000% won that fight, and it's not even like I rode his back for 4.5 minutes in the first round. Like, what are we talking about here? You know what I mean? So if you just said, "Hey, man, like you lost the fight, it was a close fight," I'd be like, "All right, cool, it was close." You know what I mean? But if you say I lost the first round, that's a laugh to me. That's a joke. That's an embarrassment. That's an embarrassment to our sport.
Yeah.
I didn't lose that first round. I don't think I lost that third round. I clearly lost the second round. I clearly won the first round, and the third round was close, but I feel like I did. I mean, I outlanded him. I landed more solid shots than he did. Outworked him. I felt like I won the fight, man. I really do.
Now this question comes from Andre Orlovsky. They ask, how can a UFC fighter become more popular to get paid more? Now I don't know. I don't feel like this is your wheelhouse. You're not like a self promoter type, but I would say you. How about this? How would you explain, because you've talked to me about it, and for people that missed in those previous articles, explain to young fighters and to fans the best way to use those fight purses? Like you told me what you should do with those early money, keep working that side job, and how it benefited you personally.
Yeah, I think you got to keep using your money. Like the problem is these kids, they start fighting, they quit their job, and they live off the fight money. You can't live off the fight money until like your second or third contract. You know what I mean? Like you got to keep your job for a little bit, or at least get a part-time job to where you're covering your bills or close to it, to where you're not sucking that cash flow out. And invest. Real estate is my wheelhouse. That's where I go. I'm about to put an offer in a house today. I just went and looked at it a minute ago. I'm literally moving where I live Thursday. Real estate is my wheelhouse. So
do we have any more apartment buildings? Last time I talked, you just brought an apartment building.
No, no. I've been going on houses lately. I did a couple flips. I have a couple of Airbnbs. It's all over the place, really. I like good deals and whatever comes my way. But I just think these guys, they just blow through their cash really on dumb shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? And a lot of these guys are poor, and I was too. But you're gonna stay that way if you keep spending. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you gotta save. If you're gonna save to invest. Don't save, because if you save and the money sits in your bank, you're gonna lose money. I mean, if let's say you're lucky and you get 0.5% back on your money from the bank, which you won't, it'll probably be closer to like 1/4%. But inflation is usually 1.5% or 1%. So if it sits in the bank, you're gonna lose money. So you gotta reinvest it in something, anything. Right now, the stocks are great. I don't really play around in stocks too much, really at all. Even in this thing, I like real estate. That's where I play at. But there's so many options right now with the economy going to shit. It'd be hard to lose money if you did any research at all.
Now I got a question then. Okay, let's say you're a fighter. Now I personally understand that, but like you get this big check, like you get $20,000 check for your fight, and this is big money to some new fighters. Sure. But they don't, they're real with themselves. They don't know real estate. They don't know stocks and how to get into it. What would you advise them to do? Because would you advise them to get an expert? How do they find an advisor that they can trust? Like, who should they go to? Like, where should they go so they don't get screwed out of their money and they make the right decisions? Like, what did you do? Did you just straight up research? You learned it all yourself and trial and error? Like, what did you do?
Well, the first investment you got to make is in yourself. And I mean that sounds so cliche, but guys, you can't count on somebody else doing the work for you. You gotta always. I trust the team around me. I trust the people around me, but I always confirm. So I gotta do my own research. Like I look at what's Grant Cardone doing? What's so and so doing? Do I have a friend in real estate? Ask them questions. Like do some real research. Like if you're about to fight somebody, you watch video on them, you see what they're doing, see what's working, and it's the same thing. If you're about to do real estate, you got to watch. I mean, all the information in the world is available and free at your fingertips. You know what I mean? Like everybody's putting free content out about any subject right now. So stocks, real estate, it's all out there. You just got to look for it, and you got to want to do it. So do some research on your own, and then you can start small. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't. Like, for example, if I was single, if I didn't have a family, what I would do is I would save to buy my first house. I would buy a 3 or 4 bedroom house, and I would stay in there, and I would rent out other bedrooms. So, for example, if my mortgage was $1,500 a month, I would buy a 4 bedroom house, rent 3 of those bedrooms out for $500 a month, and somebody else is paying my mortgage. So that's just one way. Or buy a duplex, live in one half, somebody else pays the other half, right? Like, there's just, and that if you do the research, you'll understand things like house hacking. You'll understand the Burr method. Like there's a bunch of different things that you can do that are very simple. That doesn't require like a further education. It's all on YouTube. It's all on articles. This is all free content that's available at your fingertips right now. One one of my good friends had a saying one time, and it's simple, it's stupid, but it makes a lot of sense. It's, if you wanted to know, you would. You know what I mean? Like, and that's
true.
That's just like, if you want to know how to do it,
Yeah,
you'll find
very
out.
true. Yeah.
If you don't, you won't. So it's really important to me to have financial freedom after fighting, and right now, really. You know what I mean? I don't need to fight right now, but it's important. It's important to me to have that for myself, my family, my kids. I want to give my kids a head start. You know, I'm buying houses for my kids right now. You know, for whenever they get bigger, and I want to give them a head start in life. I don't want to hand feed them, but like, I want to give them a head start. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have a head start. I had to learn this stuff the hard way. And yeah, man, it's just, if you want to know, you will.
Yeah. I know this question comes from Genius with 3 S's. They ask, the biggest bet, $1 million in MMA history, goes to a women's MMA fight, Amanda Nunes versus Felicia Spencer. How about that? That's fascinating. What are your thoughts on that? And also, I wanted to ask, because you are the lead trainer for Megan Anderson, what are your thoughts about Dana White recently saying if Amanda Nunes doesn't want to fight again, featherweight may be gone? Like, what do you think about that too?
First part of that, I mean, I if you have it, if you got $1 million laying around, go for it, bro. I feel like it's a lock. I feel like that's a lock. You know, I just didn't see any way that Felicia is going to beat Amanda. Even in a grappling match, I feel like Amanda beats Felicia. And I think Felicia is good. I don't, you know, just stylistically, I think Amanda is just a really difficult matchup for her. If it's one thing that I've learned in the sport of MMA is I love Dana. I think he's great. But you can't take what those guys say too seriously, because the lay of the land literally changes every week. Yeah. He said that women would never be in the UFC. I remember back in the day they said that they would never have weight classes, the lower weight classes. I've heard him say so many things that if it makes dollars, it makes sense. You know what I mean? So you can't take that seriously. And it's not because that he said that. It's because that's where it was at that time. Yeah. But the lay of the land changes every single week. You know, I have a kid. I'll give you an example. I have a kid, Grant Dawson. You know, he's like, I feel like we've been talking about going up to 55 or staying at 45. He's like, I feel like my chances of winning a title are better at 45. I said, they're better right now. But watch how the rankings change every week, man. Like, you can't plan your future for right now. You got to think ahead, you know. So it's the same thing. So if they say that, and if it happens, man, there's Bellator's building the division. You know, there's other places to go. It's not like the UFC is the end all be all. You can make a living elsewhere. Yep. It seems like the UFC is the you know, the easiest to I don't say the easiest, but like the most consistent, I should say. Yeah. And it's the pinnacle of the sport. You know, they're the highest. Yeah. But yeah, they say stuff all the time. You know what I mean? They say things every day. You know, and all the time they're wrong. You know, and it's not that they're lying to us or anything like that. It's just the lay of the land changes every week. So maybe this week it's that. Next week there's another 45er that comes in as the next biggest thing, and they grow the division. You know what I mean? Like it changes all the time.
Since you are an admitted fan of Dana, what were your thoughts recently of his, this is not a career, this is an opportunity in the UFC?
I can kind of see where he's coming from. And then there's a part of me that's like, nah, bro. Come on. I see what you're trying to do, dog. Like, I get where you're coming from with it. I mean, tell John Jones he don't have a career. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Yeah. He's trying to save face. I get it, bro. Yeah, it's they're under a lot of scrutiny right now, man.
Is that why you can't take what he says seriously? Because he's gonna, in the end, do what he has to protect his company. So that's why, even more reason you can't take him seriously.
Listen. Yes, I don't like saying seriously, because it's not like I think he's lying to us. Like, I take what he says with a grain of salt, because once again, the lay of the land changes every week. So his opinion this week might not be the same opinion next week. You know what I mean? So it's not like he's lying to us or anything like that, but it's just like, man, that's your opinion this week. But once again, what makes dollars makes sense. So next week it may be the exact opposite of what you said last week, you know? So it's not that I don't trust what he's saying. It's just that it's so hard because everything changes all the time in this sport. You know, it's not like seasonal. It changes literally every week. Yeah. You know, there's always somebody hot, new, and, you know, it's just, it's so hard to take any of those like absolute comments, you know, like always and never, I'll never have this, or we always do this. it's so hard to take that stuff seriously because it changes all the time, man, all the time. And I've seen fighters like, how about this? I'll never sign Ben Askren, right? Like, heard
Yep.
that, like,
Yep.
things change all the time, and it's not that you were wrong that week. It's just that, hey, people, the fans spoke up and said, hey, we want to see Ben Askren finally. Okay, cool, let's do it. You know what I mean? Like, let's make some money on this guy. So, I don't even know what the original question was, but they follow the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that, and they're a business, and listen, you would too. You're gonna do what's best for your business. You know what I mean? Like, and you can't get mad at Dana because he says one thing and does another. You're gonna do what's best for your family and your business. I'm gonna do what's best for mine, and that's what people are like. Oh, you said this. Shut your ass up. Like, you said you were gonna do the same thing for your company. You know what I mean? Like, if you said something last week, like, we're never gonna buy stocks in this, and then this week it's hot, you might as well buy. You know what I mean? Like, people change their opinion all the time. It's okay. You can't persecute somebody for changing their opinion from a week-to-week basis.
Now, this is, I can't even read this name, but they ask, Curtis Blades dominated Alexander Volkov. Well, I mean, for 3 of the 5 rounds, he dominated. Do you want to see Francis Ngannou versus Blades 3? I don't. I think we've seen enough in the first 2, but what are your thoughts?
No, I don't want to see it. He's already knocked him out twice. And I like Blades. I like Blades a lot. But, like, let me see. Francis is next, and then, Curtis can wait or have one other one in there. But for right now, for me, it's pretty clear cut 1 and 2, Francis and Blades after that. But that's my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, Blades is saying he wants to wait. I mean, you're talking, was that August 15th that Stipe and
I think so.
are fighting?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so what's going to happen after that? If DC wins, he's going to retire. Belt's going to be vacant. So it'll be what, Stipe and Francis?
Yep.
All right, okay, let's set that up. And then Blades, if he wants to wait, can get next. Or Blades can fight one more time. I don't want to see them 2 fight again.
What do you think of him, like, nurturing and embracing, like, being a bad guy, being a villain? He said he's the bad, something John Jones probably should do, and he'd probably make even more money. What do you think of embracing it?
He tweeted the day before his fight. He said, if you guys are looking for, like, a slugfest or something like that, this ain't the guy. I'm going to go out and ragdoll this dude. I love it. Hey, man, call your shot, dog. I love any personality shift. You know what I mean? Like, Colby, you know what I mean? I like watching something different, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not that guy. I'm not going to do that. But, like, I enjoy watching it. I know that's not how he is all the time. Like, I don't know if he's a good dude or a bad dude. I don't care. Like, I'm trying to be entertained, man. This is not the fight business. This is the sports entertainment business. Like, entertain me. Triple C. Bro, the whole cringe thing. If you've ever had a conversation with Henry Cejudo, he is one of the coolest dudes ever. Like, he's very humble. He'll talk to anybody. Chael, another one like that. These guys are just magnifying a persona to make more money. I'm not going to hate on somebody for making more money. That's your business. Go for it. Do it.
And I interviewed Colby before he became this Colby. He was super cool too. So
I've heard he's so different. But listen, like I said, it's a sports entertainment. People want to be entertained. They don't want to see the same shit over and over again. I don't either. I'm not going to be a goofball to do it.
Now, this comes from Just Bleed 69. They ask, which weight class is the most competitive today? For me, I would say bantamweight. Bantamweight is effing phenomenal. And then you throw Frankie Edgar and Aldo into it. What are your thoughts? What is the most competitive division in the UFC right now?
Bro, that's a tough question. What week?
Yeah. I mean, always usually is lightweight, but this feels like the first time it's not lightweight.
I don't think it's lightweight. I mean, you can argue. We're talking about an entire division, right? When I say most competitive, I look at like the top 15 and how could you interchange those guys? Yeah. Khabib is obviously amazing. Dude, 70 is tough right now. I'll tell you what's a sleeper is 25. There's some good guys in 25, but obviously bantamweight's tough. Bantamweight, you might be right with bantamweight. Bantamweight's tough. Featherweight's tough. 70's tough. I think 205 sucks outside of like the top 5, top 10. I don't. Heavyweight, I feel like the top 5 guys set themselves apart from the rest. 85, I feel kind of the same. Top 5 guys, top 5, top 10 set themselves apart. I guess I would have to say bantamweight.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one stuff.
to end it, like 2 questions going back to divisions, either key fights in the divisions. We talked about lightweight, talked about featherweight. What are your thoughts? One comes from Sarayuku Zenyo. They ask, and I'll add 2. What are your thoughts on Dustin Poirier versus Dan Hooker? Who gets it done and how? And then also give me same question, but for the rematch between Holloway and Volkanovski.
I'm gonna take Poirier. Poirier is my guy. I like Poirier a lot. He's really good, but I just feel like his pressure is gonna be too much for Hooker. Mm-hmm. That's main event, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, this weekend.
Rounds. If it was 3, I think I would. The gap would close, but it's 5. Dustin can fight a hard 25.
Yeah.
And when Hooker fought Barbosa, he seemed to like get a little tired. Dude, Poirier's not going away, man. Poirier's gonna be in your face. He's gonna make you fight him. Now Hooker's got those big knees. He's dangerous. He's a dangerous fighter. But if you take that danger factor out, and just assume that Poirier's not gonna get clipped, I feel like Dustin's got a better chance of winning over 25 minutes than Hooker does. It's just my opinion. I like both those guys, but Poirier, he's a son of a bitch in there, man.
Yeah.
Like, he's in your face the whole time. He's popping.
Yes.
He's cracking you. He's good. So I'm leaning towards Poirier on that. And then
Volkanovski, Max Holloway. Before you even give me Volkanovski, Max Holloway, do you think the division has maybe finally caught up to Max? Do you think maybe tough fights and maybe his health issues recently, has he declined? What do you think of that?
I think I could see the weight cuts being a factor. You know what I mean? Like, he cuts a ridiculous amount of weight.
Yes.
And, man, Volkanovski is just good. You know what I mean? Like,
that too. Yeah.
I don't think Max, like, if you said Max was fighting any other person in that division, I don't think he loses. You know what I mean? Like, but I said Volkanovski was going to be a tough fight. I did take Max to win. But I don't know if he's lost anything. I think Alex is good, man. You know what I mean? He's good. He's strong. He hits hard. He's got great cardio. That's a coin flip again, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to. Max is gonna come more ready than he was last time. I think he's gonna have a smoother weight cut. I know for a 100% fact he cut a ton of weight fight week. He always does, but I know it was like exceptionally more than normal. I think it's a great fight. Coin flip for me.
Do you think if he loses, he needs to just finally make that move up to lightweight, where I think he can be unbelievable?
I think he's going to be great no matter what weight class he fights in. But at 55, man, I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to be right there with those guys. Like, you look at Poirier, fought Poirier well. He lost, but he fought Poirier well.
Yeah.
It's not like he can't compete there.
Yep.
I can understand why he wants to stay at 45 because he's right now he's the solid number 2 guy in the division. To whereas I think he drops a little bit in the lightweight division, but man, there's fights for him to win there. I can answer that question after this fight. You know what I mean? We'll see what he looks like at 45 again. He's a big dude, man. He's a big dude. Big dude. I'm excited for that fight.
All right, so before we go, is there anything you give the folks, your social, the Instagram, the Twitter, if you want to follow, anything also you want to plug, any projects you're working on, any kind of things you want to get out there and awareness for?
Just D. James Krause, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. That's it, man. Appreciate you having me on.
My pleasure. I'm find me Cheapsies Chat on Instagram and Twitter. He is the James Krause. Happy Father's Day to you all and to James. See you guys next time.
Thanks, bro.